After analyzing Warren Buffett's work, especially in the earlier stages, I found out that there is a key strategy he used to create massive wealth that I've never seen him or anyone else anywhere ever mention. Hello, my name is Gal, and if you are curious about learning from Warren Buffett, give this video a thumbs up. Simply click the like button right now. After I started implementing this strategy last year, two incredible things have happened. The first was that I noticed that all the ultra successful entrepreneurs or even mildly financially wealthy people use it in some way or another. They all have businesses that fall into both of the two categories I'm going to tell you about in this video. If they only have one business or several businesses that only fall into one of these categories, they will always have an investment strategy or another way to make up for the lack in the second category. And if we are talking about making up for the lack of a business, near the end of the video, I explain how it's possible to use this strategy even if you do not have a business at all. It won't be nearly as powerful, but it is completely possible. The second thing that happened to me is that even though my 8-figure business only grew by 30% this year, my net worth almost doubled. And of course, I wish I knew that when I just started business over 10 years ago, because I'm sure I would be in an even sweeter spot. But of course, it is always the way it is, and something you simply learn later on. Luckily, I still have many years to enjoy this strategy, and I'm here to tell you all about it so that you can benefit from it as well. So what is this strategy, and how did so many people who studied Warren Buffett have missed it? Well, when most people go and try to learn from Warren Buffett, they just listen to his advice or obsess over his stock picking, in which I'm in no way an expert. But the thing I did learn over the years is that if you want to recreate someone's success or even just use principles from his success to create your own version of it, you should be more focused on looking at his action than listening to his words. Obviously, I believe that Warren Buffett is a great guy that shares his advice because he really wants to help. And I do not think he's hiding anything, but for whatever reason, he left this key part of the puzzle simply out of all the videos I have ever seen him making. I will say in advance that even though, in my personal opinion, owning more than two businesses, where at least one of the businesses fit in every one of those two categories, is not just the Warren Buffett way of doing it, it's absolutely the best and quickest way to do it. Or at least like other billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, who have different departments in their huge companies, again like Facebook and like Amazon, that practically act as individual different businesses within the big company, each department in another category. But again, it is partially possible for almost anyone to adopt this strategy even without a business. So how does it work? Let's understand the two types of businesses, and I'll give you some examples from both huge companies and small businesses of how they use this strategy to create great wealth for their owners, as well as how I am doing it myself. So let's start. The two different types of businesses you must own to become ultra rich are cash flow generating businesses and cash flow multiplier businesses. The first type are businesses, the cash flow generator businesses, are businesses that generate a lot of cash flow, even if in the end of the day they're not amazingly profitable. And the other type are extremely profitable businesses, even if sometimes they create negative cash flow, meaning businesses that know how to use and they actually need a lot of money, but they can create massive growth and massive profits. The idea is simple. You have a business that can bring a lot of money in. Even if in the end of the day, a lot of it have to be used for expenses, in the meanwhile, you use the cash. The cash is used to be invested or to be put in the holes of the other businesses or other departments, the one that need a lot of money to run, but can be really, really profitable. The way I understand Warren Buffett's story is that when he just started out, he bought companies with some assets that were valued under the value of their asset. Let's imagine that you knew that the pizza place around the corner was losing money and was willing to sell his business for, say, $10,000 just to get out of it. The numbers here doesn't really matter. I'm just pick an easy number so it will be easiest for us to understand. Imagine you knowing that the ovens and all the equipment he had in the pizza place, in the restaurant, were worth $15,000. Obviously, if you could buy the entire place, close it, and sell all the equipment, you would be making $5,000 in profit. But you need $10,000, otherwise you cannot do the deal. Well, he wasn't buying pizza places, but the easiest example. So to start doing that, he got some money from investors. But generally speaking, investing in those businesses, investing in those companies, you always need more and more cash. And until a certain percentage of the assets you bought are sold, you won't necessarily have your money back, let alone the profits. And this might take some time. In this time, you do not have cash, you do not have money. So very quickly, Warren Buffett realized he needed businesses of the first category, the ones that create cash flow. And he started investing and he started owning insurance agencies and companies. Insurance agencies and companies usually get a lot of money in advance and would need to return some of it to customers or their parent insurance companies later on. In the meanwhile, they have the cash, and that's a lot of the cash that Warren Buffett used to build his empire by investing and moving this money to businesses of the multiplier type, of the second type. Now think for a second about McDonald's, for example. A company selling burgers, right? Which is a business generating cash flow immediately. But as most people today know, they have huge holdings of real estate. Can you imagine them buying so much real estate without selling burgers and fries? Well, of course not. They would never be able to finance it. So McDonald's found a way that many business owners tend to lean into to make up for their lack of businesses in the cash demanding and cash multiplying side, and use real estate as the cash demanding business. And this of course leads us to so many smaller multimillionaires that simply had a business that created cash flow and were smart enough to invest some of it into real estate. An even simpler approach, by the way, is to invest that money in stocks, something like index fund or something like this. For me right now, real estate is like 5% of my net worth and stocks are approximately the same, meaning my businesses are still 90% of my personal net worth, which is a bit of a balance, to say the truth, to the risky side. But even though I'm married and I have 2 kids, I'm still young, so I'm not overly worried about it, and I'm also on my way working to balance it. So you must be asking yourself, is this anything new? What's the difference between that and me working at a job and investing in a 401k or an IRA? And here is the part you absolutely must hear and must understand. When an employee gets a paycheck and puts 10%, 20% or even 30% into saving accounts and investing it, as amazing as it is, it's not the same. An employee can only essentially invest his profits, while business owners of the cash flow generator types can invest from the cash flow before profits. And while if you have a lot of profits or a really big paycheck, you can definitely become very wealthy, this strategy doesn't even require you to make a lot of profits, or actually, it doesn't even require you to make profits at all. And depends on the business, it can speed things up like 5 or even 10 times faster. To understand how it works, you must understand how cash flow and profits act differently in businesses. For basic example is, let's say you own a business providing a service, let's say a delivery service. The client pays you when he gets the delivery or when he orders the delivery. Let's say it's $5. When you account for profits, you can say that, just for example of course, $2.50 goes to the person making the delivery guy. And $1.50 goes for renting and maintaining the motorcycle, including gas. And let's say $0.50 is for the office and customer service and everything, and 50 cents are also profits, okay? So to make $5 of profit, you will have to do 10 deliveries. To make $500 worth of profit, you will have to do 1,000 deliveries. So if you want to buy a $100,000 worth of real estate, you will have to deliver 1 million deliveries, right? Well, to make $500,000 in profits, you do, but not for investing in the Warren Buffett's strategy. For example, if you have an agreement with the bike renting company and the maintaining company, and as well as, let's say, the gas company, that you always pay them for a given month at the end of the next month, even though I still make the same 50 cents worth of profit, I now have $2 in the bank in every given moment, in any given time. So by the time I make $500,000 in profits and theoretically could buy only one asset worth $500,000, if you use the Warren Buffett strategy and invest with cash flow, so you can, with no loans, get 4 assets with a total worth of $2 million. Some businesses, of course, are better for doing those cash flow tricks, and others are less compatible. But the ones that are will be a great tool in the way to great wealth. Warren Buffett mostly used insurance companies, and now he has a very, very rich portfolio of companies of this type. McDonald's sold burgers, and others used different businesses and different methods. Now, if you think the last example was amazing, you only saw like 50% of the power of the genius Warren Buffett strategy. Because investing in real estate, again, as amazing as it can be, creates a slowdown in the system, as it makes a lot of money stuck in the investment, stuck in the deal for a very long time. It's called a long cycle. Now imagine using the exact same strategy, even with the simple delivery company example, just that instead of investing in real estate, you would invest in a business or do a deal with a shorter life cycle. The simplest example most people are familiar with is flipping. Flipping means you buy something for a low price, maybe you add some value to it, sometimes not at all, and you simply sell it again for a higher price. Some people do it with real estate, some people do it with products. Warren Buffett did it with businesses. These deals can be incredibly profitable, but they require that you have cash to get the things in the first place, or at least in order to add the value and pay for the costs of the deal. So if your delivery company only made $2,500 worth of profit, but as in our example, you have 4 times the cash flow in the bank, so now you have $10,000. You could buy that pizza place, right? You can buy that pizza place and sell all the ovens and everything for $5,000, which is actually tripling your profits. Instead of having $2,500, you had $7,500. The beauty is that now the company has $15,000 in the bank, and so that now you can get into bigger and bigger and bigger deals. Facebook, for example, is a cash flow generator, and they buy other businesses with their money. It's not just the huge deals you see in the news like acquiring WhatsApp or Instagram. They are doing more of the smaller scale deals than you can ever imagine. And Amazon is another example of a company that has departments that are cash flow generative and other departments that require huge investments before they can create profits. Even in small businesses, there are some companies who simply always need more money. And the more money they have, the more money they can make. Examples could be companies that need to hold massive stock and want to create a new product line. Every time a business like this wants to grow, it lacks money. On the other hand, other businesses like an online marketing agency or a financial services company might never need money to grow because it can always get money first from its customers and pay expenses later. In 2016, a year and a half after I sold my 50% holding in a seven-figure company I co-founded with my ex-business partner, I started a company that now makes up around 50% of my net worth. And while the profitability is nice, the cash flow streams it produces allow me to invest in other businesses and financially grow in a faster rate than I could ever hope for. I went to study Warren Buffett because I realized I wanted to make a lot of money, but even though I really love my business and I believe I did something really good by starting it and growing it, the more it grew, the lower the profit margins became. But I was sure there was a way to leverage what I have built in a more powerful financial way. Of course, in the most basic sense, a job can provide cash flow and real estate or index fund can drain that money and create growth. But utilizing the power of cash flow generating businesses with a bit of higher level cash flow management practices that I might be talking about in a different video, with a high investment, high profit business is completely another story. And if the businesses have things in common or they can mutually benefit each other, you are on the right track to grow incredible wealth.